Here with Kelly Mann, victorious head coach of James Monroe Mavericks after a 77-58 win over Bluefield. Kelly, let's go ahead and start off with that second quarter because that was where things really started to separate. You guys, I think, were down 16-9 heading in, and then you just blitzed them. In the second quarter alone, you were 12-22 from the field. Let me see, you outscored them 29-9 in that quarter. Really hard to do that, especially with as cold as what you were in the first quarter. We talked about 3 of 18 from the field. What you guys felt like you did differently to get that switch flipped?
I think a couple things happened. The first quarter, I thought we were getting pretty good looks. We were just rushing them a little bit, and we kind of know that with Bluefield's speed and athleticism, you're just a tick faster. Their closeouts are just a little faster, and our guys feel that. You feel that on the floor, and I think that was the difference in the first quarter. We were just a tick off, and you could just feel it. We talked about just continue to playing. Their legs will slow down. Our minds will slow down, and I think that's what happened in the second quarter. A combination of they probably had a little bit of fatigue start to set in, and we calmed our minds down a little bit. Got used to their pace, and then the ball started to go in, and really played a heck of a quarter there. So.
I've seen you guys. I feel like this is probably like the 9th or 10th time I've seen you, which is kind of irregular, but you guys have played a lot of big games, a lot of very quality schedule this year, and just seeing the progression of this team. I go back to December and how disappointed you were, and some of the other players outside of Ryan and Caden, and just the lack of contributions that you were getting from them. Different story tonight. Those two had 5 points combined in the first half, and just the other kids really took over. And Jaden, I think he had a spectacular second quarter. In that quarter alone, I had him 5 of 5 from inside the arc, 5 of 6 overall, 10 points. Just played a really heck of a game. Talk about his contributions. And Bryce didn't play in the first matchup of this, when you guys played them down at Bluefield, but he finished the game overall with 14 points, I believe. Just those guys, they really stepped up whenever Bluefield was obviously trying to take Caden and Ryan away.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, Jaden, for example, first, for probably the first 2 or 3 months of the season, in practice, he was that kind of guy. He was just knocking down shots, and he just played. He played with comfort, and he has skill level. He's a good player. And one day he was just killing them, and he was kind of like, you could see him, he was kind of feeling himself a little bit in practice, and I was like, Jaden, you're a heck of a practice player, but how about we put this into a game? This is the guy we're looking for and we're asking for in a game. And I feel like it kind of clicked with him a little bit. I think it made him a little bit frustrated, maybe a little mad at me. And I was a little frustrated with him because I kept seeing that guy in practice. And I was like, man, show up in the game with this guy. And I think he has done that. And then about a month ago, I really started to hone in on him of committing to rebounding as a guard. Really trying to go after rebounds and play a little more of the game. I think a guard sometimes, if he's just shooting and getting shots, then you're hinging all your success on makes and misses, and that can go bad for you. I believe if you're playing the whole game and you're playing defense and you're rebounding at a high clip and you're doing other things and you miss a couple shots, so be it. And I really believe that's starting to free him up. Bryce was just a matter of getting healthy. I knew what he had, and he's got a gear that people don't realize. I mean, he has athleticism he can go to the floor. He just hadn't been healthy, and you can see his legs are coming back to that athleticism that puts him a step out in front. And those two guys, I mean, Briar really didn't have a big night tonight, but he shot it like he meant to, and I loved his fight. He's had a hard year. We've been on him pretty hard. Those 3 guys really came. I mean, you watch Wyatt, he's fighting on the boards. He's physical, he's doing the things you're asking him to do. He's young, but I'm like, get in there and, work those guys. Do those things that you can do. So those other guys, I just love them being successful, and that really makes us strong.
One of the common denominators of everything you just said in that answer was rebounding. You out-rebounded them 43-17. Even if you give or take a few, plus 26 on rebounds, and obviously you forced 13 turnovers. That's almost 40 extra possessions. Talk about being able to hit the boards and utilize it, because they're always athletic. They jump, they had their big man back. you guys were able to capitalize. You kept possessions alive. I think of those 43 rebounds, 16 were offensive, and at halftime you had 13 offensive rebounds. So a lot of what you were able to do there in that second quarter was powered by that. Just talk about the ability to not just win the rebounding battle, but dominate it.
Well, I'm a believer that changes ball games. We're trying to build a team that can win even when you don't necessarily shoot it well. I mean, if the possessions are even and you're just playing even with effort, and then you're kind of dependent on, can I outshoot a team? And I don't feel like we have players that can do that, but we don't want to leave our destiny up to just, hey, make or miss. So in my opinion, rebounding at a high clip and out rebounding a team by 10 or 15 can offset some bad shooting nights. So that's something we really work a lot on. It's something that I hear guys after the game, how many rebounds did I have? I would rather hear that than how many points did I have, because I'm not really worried about how many points you had. And I love to hear the guards doing that. I've got Jaden every day, how many rebounds did I have? Because if you don't get 6 or 7, you didn't play very well, in my opinion. So guards that rebound, we know Ryan and Caden are going to rebound, Lane's going to rebound. But when you get those other guys rebounding and you start to win the rebounding battle, that's going to be usually a good outcome for you.
You obviously know from experience last year that there's no guarantee with how regional seeding and voting goes. But this was a very strong statement towards getting home court advantage, getting out of that 3 seed. When you factor everything in, regional record and outside of region schedule, that's complete 180 from what it was a year ago. Just talk about how huge this one. And again, there are no guarantees. You could still be voted as the 3 seed, but I think with the way things have gone, you've made a pretty strong statement that'd be compelling. It'd be hard to put you as a 3 seed. Was there any point of emphasis on that? Again, because most of these kids were part of that team last year. So,
no, honestly, we've tried not to. We have not focused on that. We've scheduled up and we've said, let's go play every night. And even moving forward, whether we make it to Charleston, whether we make it to whatever, we've said we're going to play every night. We're going to compete every night. We're going to free up our minds, and we're going to live with the results. We certainly, like everyone else, want to be successful and go as far as we possibly can. But we're not going to define ourselves through that. I'm not a big fan of the regional settings. I don't think it's set up the way that it should be. When you introduce coaches and voting, and there's just so many flaws in that, in my opinion. I feel like we could go back to a sectional setup. I heard Coach Olson talking about it, and I've spoken to a lot of coaches who would absolutely think that we need to rethink this thing as far as the regional seedings are concerned. But no, I can't control anyone's vote. We're going to go out and play every night. We're going to play every night, enjoy the process, and then whatever happens, happens. We found that out before, so we're just that you can't really control your own destiny in that situation. That's a little frustrating.
Very, very difficult week when you were putting the schedule together, because you probably thought, okay, we're playing 2 really good quality teams. You probably didn't think, okay, we're going through number 3 and number 2 in the same week, and obviously another game tomorrow too. So the way it shakes out, just the extremely difficult week. Did you design it like this? Because this is the kind of week that gets you ready for a state tournament if you're able to get there.
Well, we designed the whole year like this, and you mentioned it earlier. In all honesty, when we put the schedule together, I was kind of like, there's 2 sides of this coin. If we don't shape up and we don't have the team that I think we're going to have, this could really get away from us in a hurry, because we played a lot of quality opponents and felt like we've been in every one of them. We battled. These kids have learned how to play through those type of games, and not only does it get you ready, like I said, we don't focus on that. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun every night to go and have to compete and know you better show up and play, or you're going to get beat. You're going to lose. It's not very much fun to show up and say, well, we might win by 20 or we might win by 30. I don't think anyone gets anything out of that. So I have really enjoyed the competition. This week is no different. In all honesty, you may not know, we picked up Huntington Monday next week. So, it's going to click. And, Wyoming East, obviously, everyone knows what they are coming in here. But it's kind of been like that all year. So we're just going to enjoy it and enjoy the ride. So.
Gotcha. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.